We have a very beautiful looking Faberge mystery clock here that's just running a little slow. So today we're going to take this apart and see if we can figure out how to fix it. Now the first thing to try is to just replace the battery and see if that resolves it. So we're just going to remove this screw here, and the battery compartment is in this area here. So it looks like just a D-cell battery here, so we're just going to remove that and replace it and replace it with a new one and see if that solves the problem. So a new battery didn't resolve the issue with the clock running slow. So the next thing we want to do is clean the contacts on the battery connection here. And as you can see, there is a little bit of rust there. So we'll clean those contacts up and see if that resolves the issue. Just to make it a bit easier to work with, I'm just going to go remove this whole back plate here. In order to do that, we're just going to remove these two screws here, this one and this one, and as well as this little gear setting. So that just pops straight off. Oh, there we go. That just pops straight off, just like that. Okay, once we remove the screws, we should be able to just lift this plate straight off. And this piece here can also be removed. And it sits on two little pins here, so just be careful to move it straight up so we don't bend those two pins. You can see that there's a little pin there and a little pin right there, so it just rests on those two pins. So now we have access to our electronics here, so we can easily clean the battery connections. I'll probably remove this whole battery case here as well, so that I can pull this straight out and clean it very. Alright, so I'm just going to remove these 4 screws next, so that we can get these battery contacts nice and clean. Alright, so I'm just going to use some plain white vinegar here to clean off these contacts. I'll use some Q-tips to kind of get some of that vinegar onto the contacts, and then try to scrub it off with some toothbrush and some wire brushes just to clean it off as best we can. Alright, we were able to clean off most of the corrosion, and we have a nice shiny metal contact point now for the battery. So the electricity should flow pretty smoothly now. We'll give that a shot, see if that solves it. If that doesn't fix the problem, the next thing we're going to do is replace this crystal here. That's what supplies the frequency for the clock. And it's a very simple circuit, so that's one of the obvious things that could go if the timing is a little bit off. Alright, the corrosion on the battery terminals didn't seem to fix the issue. It still runs slow when it's upright, but I did find something out interesting. The clock actually keeps perfect time when it's resting flat, but then as soon as you lift it upright vertically, it stops. So I think that there must be something to do with gravity in this situation. Maybe the gears don't align properly when it's upright. So I think we're gonna have to take apart the face here, the back face, and see how the gear assembly works here, so that we can debug this a little bit further. So there's 2 little screws here, so I'm just going to remove this one and then the one on the other side, and then take this back plate off here, and we'll see, check out the gear assembly and see how it works. Alright, so now the 2 screws are off, I'm just going to turn this over and see if this back plate comes off. Perfect. Alright, so the mystery is revealed. It looks like there's an outer gear here that turns the hands, and it looks like there's some sort of corkscrew here on the side to actually turn it. Now if we have it upright, that corkscrew doesn't seem to turn. If we put it sideways, slowly we can actually see it spinning. I don't know if we can get that on video, but maybe we can fast forward it a bit. But it is definitely spinning sideways. Now I can see that cork. Zoom in there. Okay. but it's slowly turning. All right, and then when we lift it up, it does not turn. Okay, so we're gonna go and find out how that cork assembly works and check the gears out down on this post here. Check this gear assembly here and see if there's any loose connections when the gears come out of place when it's vertical. All right, now that we know that there is a little corkscrew that runs down this pipe here, I'm just gonna go see if this is detachable. Interesting, so it looks like there is some access hatch in the top here. So I'm going to remove those screws and we'll see what's underneath. Funny enough, this one does not turn. So yeah, this was definitely meant to be accessible. Alright, so I removed 6 screws from the top here. I can see that there's a little hole in the bottom of this piece here. And it looks like that corkscrew has a little rod at the end of it that is supposed to slip into this this hole here to kind of keep it in line. So I suspect that that rod slipped out and is not properly aligned, because when you move it down, the that rod slides to the back end here and it actually makes it catch, or if it slides to this side here, it actually catches this gear here. So I have a feeling that if we can get this this rod lined up properly with this in this hole here, we may fix our problem. All right, we got the post lined up on top and it's secured. So this little corkscrew is in there tight. It's not moving around, and we have the clock upright, and so far it seems to be spinning the gear. So we're just going to kind of monitor it and make sure that it keeps proper time. I think the crystal is good because it seems to be turning every second on cue. So I don't believe the crystal is the problem. I think it might be just a loose gear connection here with this corkscrew on the side. So we will just kind of keep monitoring it, but I think we might have found the problem. All right, the last thing I'm going to do before I close this back all up is just spray some silicone lubricant on the corkscrew in the gear here, just to make sure that everything is smooth and running. There's no binding in the gear there. So we have the clock put back together now, and it's been keeping perfect time for a while. So I think the issue is mainly that maybe this gear alignment was out of place, and probably also needed a little bit of new lubrication to make sure that it didn't get all bound up in there. So I think that was the issue for this particular clock here. I don't think the corrosion or the battery connection caused any issues here, or the crystal in this case was operating fine. So in this case, probably just a little bit of regular maintenance with some lubrication and maybe some alignment on that gear.